So first let's get all the bands, and you can see we have 5 bands here. Just to verify that everything is working so far. So now let's go and create a post. Now we need to change 2 things. Let's go to our headers, and first thing we need to click the content type and pass in application/JSON, because we are going to be passing values from the body, and therefore we need to make sure that this is going to be deserialized as JSON. Now let's go to our body and let's create new band. So we need to enter our properties. So the first one is name, and let's just call this one new band. The second property is the founded, which is the date founded, and let's just make it today's date, which is 2019 and December 7, so 12/7. And finally we have the main genre, and this can be rock. Alright, so we are now ready to send this request and create a band. And you can see we get 201 created, and here is our new band. We were redirected to the resource that we just created. It has its ID, it has the name, and notice that it has founded years ago, because this is our special DTO property that contains the year the band was founded and how many years ago. And since this is 2019, it's 0 years ago. And the main genre is rock. So now let's go to get and do a few queries here. For example, we can do our main genre query and pass in rock. And this time we should get 2 bands. And you can see we have our newly created band as well as Guns N' Roses. So you can see that it was added, and you can also now see that we can get multiple results back, because so far we only got 1 band at a time because each of the bands has different category. So our post is working correctly. Now what happens if we go to post and we'll go to API/bands and try to create a blank band, so we don't supply any body. Let's just send this, and you can see we get bad request. And remember, we did not do any null check or anything like that. This is coming simply from the API controller that handles bad requests on its own. And it simply says a non-empty request body is required. So let's quickly recap. So here in our create band, we passed from body a band for creating DTO, and we created a special DTO for creation of the band, because it is a good idea to keep the output and input DTO separate. In our case, we have different properties for output and input DTOs, but also there could be a different validation rules as well. Then we created a map between the band for creating DTO and the entity of band. And then we simply added it to our context and saved it in the database. After that, we wanted to return the newly created resource, so we mapped the new band entity to our band DTO. So this is gonna be for the output, so we simply use the band DTO, which is also the type that comes out of this action result, as you can see. And after that, we simply created a route return statement and redirected to getBand action, which we named as getBand. We added the name attribute, and we pass in the band ID, and you can see we named the argument the same as the argument that is expected in this action, and we passed in the whole object for the return. So we have our band, and next we can create a child resource, which is of course the album for the band.